please hit that subscribe button and give this video a like, as well as turn on your notifications so you won't miss when I upload a new video. With that said, let's get on with today's video. Okay, so as you guys can see, this is a HelloFresh Cook With Me. I have 3 meals in my box this week. I had barbecue burgers, I had Santa Fe pork tacos, and I had spicy maple chicken. And I'm going to cook up all 3 in this video. So if you like this kind of content, please just keep on watching. Okay, so the first recipe I'm going to make is the barbecue cheddar burgers. It comes with 2 pounds of ground beef, but to make it work for my family, I always add in a pound of meat, whether it be beef or turkey. My family never knows the difference. So here are all the ingredients that came with the HelloFresh meal. It all was very fresh. It was clean. I like the convenience of it, especially on a busy weekday. So I find this box very, very helpful for my family. I don't get it often because it is a little expensive, but when I do, I'm very grateful for the convenience of it. So after taking out all of the items, I just take stock of it and then I read the directions over to see what I need to do first. After I wash off the potatoes that came in the box, I go ahead and give those a chop. I dice them up into wedges because wedges are the side dish for these barbecue cheddar burgers. So I dice those up and then I'm going to place them into a bowl. I use the seasoning that came with the HelloFresh box, but again, I like my food to be seasoned, so I do add in some of my own seasonings, which you will see in the video as well. Now I'm going to add in some ranch seasoning, some Badia complete seasoning, and some Sazon Goya. Those are my go-tos, my staples. I love them. They give everything excellent flavor, and they were no different on these wedges. They were so good. After I get the wedges seasoned all up, I put them on the pan and I stick them in a 400-degree oven. It called for 425. My oven cooks a little hot, so I went ahead and put it on 400 and I just let it cook. And I think it took around 30 minutes. Next thing is I'm going to chop up the onion. And this is for the onion topping to go on top of these barbecue cheddar burgers. This was our favorite part of this entire meal. Even if you don't make these burgers, try it on your own burgers at home. It's so good. Basically, I just chopped up these onions and then I'm going to saute them in some butter. And I added a little salt to help soften the onions down and season them up at the same time. And later on, we are going to add in that delicious barbecue sauce that came in the HelloFresh bag. It was really good. One thing I changed for this recipe that wasn't on the menu card to make it work better for my family is I added in some ready cooked bacon bits, the real bacon bits. And I just cooked it all up together till the onions were soft. And then we added in that barbecue sauce and it was so good on these burgers. Now on to the meat, making the patties. I use Dale's seasoning to season my meat with, as well as some ranch powder seasoning. That's the way I cook my burgers anyway. And I did use ground beef and ground turkey in these burgers. And like I said, my family never knows the difference, but that's an inexpensive way to bulk up meat because I buy turkey on sale and I just keep it in the freezer. So I'm gonna go ahead and make these patties, and instead of cooking them in the oven like the recipe says, I'm going to cook them on my Hamilton Beach indoor grill, and yeah, cook them up till they're done, and then we'll get on with the rest of the recipe. I'm going to check on the wedges in the oven. They weren't quite done, so I put them back in for a little while longer. And here is those barbecue onions. The onions have cooked down, and I'm adding this barbecue sauce in. Again, just so good. I mean, so good. The final thing you do with this recipe once those burgers are done is you're supposed to add cheese. You're supposed to just add the cheddar. We like American cheese as well, and we do like a lot of cheese on our burgers, so I just did a half a slice of American cheese and a small handful of the cheddar cheese. And once I took the wedges out, I just put the burgers in and let the residual heat melt the cheese, and then after that it was done and we got ready to make our plates. Those wedges were so good. The whole meal was good. So here is this recipe, and this is the final plate. So our next recipe was Santa Fe pork tacos. This was an easy one, but it was so good. After I took out all the ingredients, again, I took out a package of ground turkey because I was going to bulk up this meat with ground turkey as well. My family, again, did not know the difference. The side dish to this recipe was coleslaw, which was very good actually. Only my daughter and I eat coleslaw, so it was some left over, but this was very, very good. So the first thing that we're going to do is go ahead and get our meat browning in the pan, and I just let it brown, and I seasoned the meat with the Southwest seasoning that comes in the package, as well as some taco seasoning, because sometimes I notice that HelloFresh, although the seasonings and the sauces are really good, it's just not enough flavor for me. So again, I added in some extra seasoning, and this is me here chopping up the onion to add into the pork and the turkey while it's cooking, again to add some extra flavor. So I'm just going to mix those onions in and let this meat cook down, and then I'll season it and I'll get on with the recipe. I couldn't, of course, make this recipe or any recipe without adding in my Sazon Goya, so I added in 1 packet of this as well. It really does add nice color and flavor. Here I only added in half a pack of the taco seasoning, but later on I did go back and add the other half because again, it just didn't have as much flavor as I wanted it to have, and that's understandable because I did add in an extra pound of meat. To make the coleslaw, it was as simple as emptying the coleslaw packet, the cabbage packet that came in the HelloFresh meal, adding a tablespoon of sugar, the 2 packets of mayo that came with it, and a squeeze of half a lime, and just mixing it up and putting it in the refrigerator. And that's exactly what I did. Next up, to the cooked meat, I added in some diced tomatoes and green chilies, again for extra flavor. That was not a part of the meal plan or the recipe, but it needed it. It kind of lacked some flavor, so I added that in as well. and I just gave it a stir, and I'm letting it cook down just a little bit with that. And then I go in with this Tex-Mex seasoning or paste. As it says Tex-Mex paste on the thing. It looks like a tomato paste, but it had a lot of flavor and it was really good. It made the meat pop. It finally made it taste, I guess, more Southwest like the recipe says. It was really good though, and the family really enjoyed this recipe, and it was really easy too. This was one of the easier ones. So after that meat cooks down, we are done, and here is the final recipe. So next we have spicy maple chicken with a side of sweet potatoes and green beans. The first thing I did is wash my chicken, and I dried it off and I put it on an oiled pan. And I'm going to show you all of the different ingredients here on the screen. And then I'm going to go ahead and start prepping my vegetables. And the only vegetable I had to prep this time was the sweet potatoes. I did have to peel and chop them. So I'll just let you watch that, and I'll come back in on the next clip. After I'm done peeling and chopping the sweet potatoes, I do add them into a pot of salted boiling water, and I just cook them until they're soft. And next thing I need to do is get my chicken coating ready. So I have 2 tablespoons of butter in my bowl. I add in panko breadcrumbs, fry seasoning, which came with the HelloFresh meal. I also add in some Badia complete seasoning and a little bit of salt. Just to give it some extra flavor as well. And then I mix that up really well before it's time to coat it onto the chicken. And I did also add pepper, yeah. To season my chicken, I just use some Slap Your Mama seasoning. I love it. It's up there with Tony's for me. I really like it. I didn't add too much because there's salt in the coating as well. But yeah, I seasoned both sides of it. And then I'm going to go ahead and take sour cream and brush it on the tops of each chicken breast before I dip them into the coating so that they can get the coating on the top of them. After coating all the chicken breasts, they do go into a 425-degree oven for about 15 to 20 minutes. That's what the recipe said. I just will watch mine closely because I don't like dry chicken, and it's easy to get a chicken breast to be dry. So I just make sure I watch my oven, and I keep checking on my chicken. But it came out really good in the end, you'll see. The last part of this meal was the green beans. It called for roasting them, but we don't really like roasted green beans. So instead, I just sauteed them in some butter, and then I seasoned them up with some salt, some lemon pepper seasoning, and some Badia complete seasoning. And then I added a little bit of water and put the top on and just steamed them a little bit until they were done and tender. Here you can see the vegetables cooking. My sweet potatoes are almost ready, so it's about to be time to get those mashed up and seasoned as it calls for on the recipe. So once I took those off of the stove, I went ahead and added in some butter first, and then I added in the maple syrup packet that came with the HelloFresh meal, as well as you'll see me adding some sour cream. Later on, I went back and added just maybe 2 tablespoons of brown sugar and a little bit of cinnamon to it as well, just to give it some extra flavor, because it just didn't have as much flavor as my kids would like it to have. So that's what I did to make it work for my family. And you should too. Season the way you like it for your family. You don't have to always go by whatever a recipe says. So I finished the sweet potatoes and these green beans are almost done. The chicken should be ready. Let's check the oven now and see about this chicken. And it is done. So I'm gonna finish this up, and here comes the final meal. And there it is, and it was so good. The kids loved it. Now here is a bonus. It's a dessert. I call it a shortcut dessert because I'm using the boxed brownie mix. But boy, when I tell you, it is so good. My kids ask for these all the time. They love them. I just make a quick cheesecake filling, and I do use eggs, so it does have to be cooked, not just refrigerated. I use 8 ounces of cream cheese, a cup of sugar, 1 egg, maybe a tablespoon of vanilla, and I usually add sour cream. I don't know why I didn't in this video, but it still turned out fine. And I go ahead and mix that up and set it off to the side, and then I get ready to mix up the brownie mix. So I do mix up the brownie mix according to the box instructions. Since I used 2 boxes, I did use a cup of oil, half a cup of water, and I used 2 eggs because I don't like cakey brownies, and using 2 instead of 4 eggs will make it more fudgy. And I go ahead and mix that up, and I do add a little bit of vanilla extract. That's not on the box, but I just think it adds something. And so after I mix this up, then I'll show you how I get them in the pan. Okay guys, so I spray my pan with this Crisco spray, and then I just go ahead, I add my brownie mix in first, and I spread it out into the pan to make sure it reaches each corner and it's an even layer. This batter is a little thick, so I did really have to spread it, but that's how I know it'll be really fudgy and good when it's time to eat it. I just spread it around until it gets all over the pan, and this is a 13 by 9 pan, so the 2 boxes do really well. And then I just add on my cheesecake batter, and I swirl it around, and you'll see me do a little bit of marbling because I like it to go all the way through the brownies as well, like while it's baking. So I do that, and then we get ready to put them inside the oven, and they bake at 325 for the first 15 minutes, and then I turn it up to 350 for the last 10 to 15 minutes. It just depends on your oven. And once they are done, I will post a final picture or a final video. So here they are before the oven, and here they are after. And these were so good. As usual, I'm a cheesecake person. I like chocolate. You know, it's the perfect mix. I just want to thank you all for watching, and I do hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.